Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What is going on, folks? Welcome into the Fairways of Life show. Hope you guys are well from wherever you are joining us from, coast to coast or around the world. So my schedule's been a little crazy last week and this week because the NCAA Division I Golf Championships are going on out at La Costa. So our coverage on Golf Channel kicks off at 6 p.m. and then goes until 10 p.m. It's a live event, so exactly when Golf Central, which I host, comes on afterwards is a little bit of a floating target, but it's 10 p.m.-ish. And so last night, Hiroshi Tai from Georgia Tech won the individual NCAA Division I Men's Golf Championship, individual. So there were 15 teams that made it to the point of that determination, and obviously there were individuals if their team didn't advance and they were in play. So he goes on to win. Gordon Sargent ended up lipping out at 18 to finish just behind him. It was a nail biter to the finish. And then so from this point on, they now go to match play. And so today is going to be a massive day of golf. Tomorrow will be the conclusion and the naming of the team winner. And so we'll have another national championship. In this case, it'll be a plural team members that will hoist the trophy. Yesterday, it was Hiroshi. So I'm loving it. The hours are crazy because, you know, you do a show from 10 to 11, which means post-production, you're getting out of here maybe 11:30-ish, quarter to 12. So you're not even getting home until midnight, and you've got all the adrenaline going. You can't sleep. So, and then I get up around 3 to start getting ready for the show. So it's I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you that the hours are kind of crazy. So yesterday, I was mentioning to you guys that this is our last full week of doing shows on Golf Channel like we are, because after from June through the summer months, basically the high season of golf, we're dodging and weaving around all kinds of programming. And I was telling you, one of the shows, one of the days that will impact us coming up immediately will be Golf's Longest Day. That'll be June 3rd. Golf's Longest Day is the last day, final qualifying for the US Open. And we'll be reporting from 12 different sites about who's there, who's close, what's going on. Send our team out there to do some play-by-play because these are all like mini tournaments jammed into one day at all these different sites. And there's some very, very big names that are in the mix. Remember, they've already had 3 final qualifying sites that have taken place. And for example, down in Texas, Sergio Garcia was in the mix and didn't get through. So they're big names, major champions, et cetera, that could be a part of it. So that's just one example. Generally, Tuesdays, you'll always be able to find us on Golf Channel. I say generally because, for example, if it's, Royal Troon and there's live froms going on or the re-airs of live froms, then that's going to bump us. But if you go to the Fairways of Life YouTube channel, you can always find our programming streaming live. And then we have the nationally syndicated weekend show, which you have to check your local sports affiliate that it airs, from coast to coast. So it was, and that's what I'm getting at with mentioning all this to you is that it caused a lot of questions from people going like, wow, what's the schedule for you guys? How do you do your hours? Like this morning, I told you, it comes to a certain point, and many of you out here can appreciate what I'm talking about, where if your hours go that late and you have to get up that early, you just say, heck with it. So I got up and went to there's a diner in town that I like to go to named Curly's. And so I end up going to Curly's and drinking coffee and reading the paper and talking to them until I come staggering in here, and then Dom yells at me. And so that whole conversation led to, on social media, some people asking like, when did you guys start doing this thing? And why did you start doing this thing? And how did it all happen? And all the rest. So I thought I'd touch on that in a second here. We will be heading to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where the U.S. Women's Open is taking place. And we're going to be joined by one of the names that definitely has been in the mix a lot of late. And I think you're going to really enjoy this conversation. A fun individual to talk to, and one very much, as I mentioned, expected to be right there. That was a beautiful photo. I did find out yesterday, Kevin Ryan is a researcher here at NBC Sports at Golf Channel. And I was calling it the, let me hold on 1 second. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You'll get it in a second. Hey, Dom, where's the U.S. Women's Open taking place this week?
In Pennsylvania, Lancaster Country Club. Why?
What was the country club again?
Lancaster Country Club.
Lancaster Country Club. All right. So Kevin Ryan said to me last night, we were on a break, and he goes, Maddie, he says, it's not Lancaster Country Club. I was like, what? He said, that's not how they say it. Okay, you got me. I'm on the hook. He says they kind of say it like Lancaster, almost like an E instead of an A.
Like L-E-N?
Yeah, kind of like an L-E-N, like Lancaster Country Club. And so I've been trying to say it correctly because as I was saying that, you got all kinds of different people checking in, whoever it is, a director or whatever, and they're like, you're saying it right. It's Lancaster. I said, no, to me, if somebody's name is B-O-B, Bob, right? But they pronounce it Bob, it's Bob. So if they say Lancaster, it's like, here's an example I was giving you. Where was the first Ryder Cup played? First ever Ryder Cup, official Ryder Cup. I'm not going down the road of, Wentworth and the chicken sandwiches and Walter Hagen, et cetera. I'm talking about the first official Ryder Cup. It was played at where? Worcester Country Club. If you look at the spelling of that and you get anybody that's probably outside of the Northeast and probably more specifically kind of the Providence, Worcester area, they're going to be like, Boston, Worcester? Right? No, it's Worcester. That's how you say it. So it's not phonetic. And that's what I'm saying in this case. So it's Lancaster and not Lancaster. That's
I don't think
Kevin
I agree
was
with
telling
that.
me so. You do? Shocked by
No, I don't think I agree with that.
Oh, you don't agree with that?
I think you're
okay,
talking
now I'm not
about.
shocked.
I think you're talking about regional accents. A word is a word, and it's pronounced differently. And there's not a correct or incorrect way to say it.
I don't know,
Like
because
in
when
Boston,
we were
they're
down
going to say car. That doesn't mean that I can't say car. Like what?
No, I don't
There's
think
not
that's
a right
it.
or wrong
I think
way.
it's more
It's
about
just
pronunciation.
regional accents.
Well, look at where was the Zurich
I
Classic held
disagree.
this year?
Now, I disagree with you. You are
Where was
wrong
the Zurich
about this.
Classic held, Dom?
In New Orleans.
New Orleans, not New Orleans.
Some people might say it like that. It's
No,
regional
it's New Orleans
accents.
because that's how they say it.
No,
it's their name.
no, I don't think that's. I think I disagree. That's what I think.
You think you disagree? No, I'm just saying it's a place is called. It's based upon if it's your city and this is how you say it collectively, that's the name. So it's not New Orleans, it's New Orleans. I had somebody last week at social media was criticizing because we were doing the NCAA Division I Women's Golf Championship. And Oregon was in it, and I said, Oregon got beat by somebody. And someone wrote in and said, could someone please tell Matt Adams how to pronounce Oregon? I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. Right? How would you pronounce it? Am I mispronouncing?
You're doing everything wrong, Matt.
I don't deny that. I don't deny it. So to the question they were asking us about how we got started and when and all that, the Fairways of Life actually started in 2006. And what happened was, and you guys are going to laugh about this when you realize how time has gone by. We started, and Dom, you may have started working for them when satellite radio, which is now called Sirius XM that we worked for, right? That the show started on. But it actually started on XM. It was before Sirius and XM became one. So Fairways of Life was on XM, which was then called PGA Tour Network, right? And then, of course, they merged, and Fairways of Life became the morning show, and blah, blah, blah. And it evolved and advanced to a point that it became a television show and became syndicated and all the rest. And so the amazing thing through all that was the evolution that we went through of people realizing that what we were doing was a national broadcast, that we were the home of the PGA Tour's live coverage, et cetera, et cetera. Because when we first started, Dom, you remember these days? Someone would say, well, what do you guys do? And we're like, yeah, we do golf on the radio. And they go, golf on the radio? Which always made me laugh, right? Golf on the radio? And they'd ask it like it's the strangest thing in the world. And I'd be like, wait a minute. Baseball has been on the radio from day one. And arguably, listening to a baseball game on the radio is probably still to this day as good as watching it on television, right? As long as whatever you do, whatever the sport is, basketball, hockey, football, whatever it is. Now, I realize that all those sports have a confined region in which the competition takes place. One in which, if you're a fan of the sport, you have a pretty good mental definition of what those diameters are. Well, in golf, you don't have that. Obviously, the stage upon which whatever the drama is that's playing out changes literally shot by shot. Okay, well, what do you have to do? Well, you have to paint the picture. That's your job. You have to paint the picture. And I still do a ton of golf radio broadcasting. Most of it that I do is in Europe with European Tour Productions or the BBC or what have you, the Open, the Ryder Cup, Solheim Cups, et cetera, which I love. The Women's Open this year, which will be at St. Andrews. Can't wait. So that's how it evolved. And along the way, some of the stuff, Dom, I mean, you could speak to it better than I can, but some of the stuff that in retrospect over these years that we went through in order to broadcast, and again, now we're radio, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I can remember doing a show. I was in Scotland at the ruins of the Adams-Tues Castle, it was called, and that was at Loch Lomond. And we literally did a broadcast from inside of a 1,000-year-old castle ruins. I mean, just crazy stuff like that. But Dom, I guess you could probably speak to even better than I could about where some of the crazy places was that we had to get set up and how we were trying to make people understand, no, this is a national broadcast that we're doing. You know, this isn't two cups and a string that we're trying to put together, and where can we set up and what we need to actually do it.
Well, you were mentioning the people, because I was talking to someone online yesterday about it, and they kind of didn't believe how long we've been together. They were like, oh, come on, 16 years. Because, you know, again, you're talking about the iterations
18.
of the show from radio through to TV. So, you know, we've only been on Golf Channel for like a year or whatever. So someone can find us and be like, well, you bet you haven't been together in 15 years. That's 16 years. That's crazy. And so what I
18.
I was looking for in all my files and my archives, I was like, I've got to have proof. There's got to be something somewhere in all my stuff that I have that's got proof that we've been doing this forever. And the oldest thing I could find, which I will share with you now, was from our trip to Bermuda in 2011 for the PGA Grand Slam of Golf, which is an event that doesn't even happen anymore.
True.
And I have a couple pictures. Okay, first of all, this is from a long time ago, okay? So you have to understand that these photos are low quality, all right? I'm purposely putting up a bad picture for you to look at. These photos were taken on a physical, like, walk around with, 10 megapixel digital camera. That was from our hotel. This is an event where the four major champions would come to Port Royal in Bermuda and just play. And Rory was there. Wow. And this is 2011. And this is video I shot on that digital crappy camera I'm talking about. Look how different Rory looks. First of all, look at all his hair. That is a lot of hair, man. And he is jacked now. Not jacked in that picture.
Yeah, but he's not heavy in that picture because he went from chubby Rory to lean Rory to now, as you said, jacked Rory. But that was when he was in his skinny phase. That's Julius Mason from the PGA on the left.
So there was Rory, Darren Clark, Charles Schwartzel. I think Keegan Bradley was there. And Darren Clark was the reigning Open champion at that time. And in the evening, these are some cool pictures I found. In the evening, we had our whatever function with the dinner. And Darren brought the claret jug and just left it on a table, unattended. And Matt and I were like, let's go take a picture of that. So
yeah, I guess it's important to point out.
No one stopped us. We just walked over there and grabbed the claret jug.
Those are two separate photos. Those are not us standing next to each other with two claret jugs. That's the same claret jug. Yeah, I remember that if you remember what happened, he left it on a table and went to get a drink. And you and I were the first two that were like, dude, that's a claret jug. Let's go take a picture with it. And by the time that we put the claret jug down, there was a huge crowd of people coming over there. And the PGA officials came running over, realizing what was happening. I think they were afraid they were about to lose the claret jug. They actually formed a line, and people started taking pictures with the claret jug more formally. A lot of hair on you in that picture, Don.
I was just going to say, what happened to me? Where did it all go? It's literally, it's gone, man. It is all gone. Andrew, go back to that picture. That is a lot of hair. In comparison to what I have now, that is a lot of hair.
Wait a minute. Don't be challenging Andrew. He'll do a side by side.
I'm getting to my point. Andrew, show me the photos of the porta potties. All right. I ask you folks, what are we looking at here? Perhaps a shed? Perhaps the back of a building? Perhaps the porta potties?
Back
no. No, I say you are looking at the entrance to where we broadcast this show in 2011. I took a video of it. I couldn't believe I found this video. So this is the back of, I don't know, the clubhouse, I guess. And there are the
no, it's a
porta
maintenance
potties.
shed. The clubhouse was to the left.
This is where we broadcast our show. Here we go. There's the entrance. Very safe. No chemicals. All closed containers. Very, very solid. Terrible, terrible video. Look at this. That is where we broadcast. Look at that, Matt. It's like, it's exciting / embarrassing / incredible, sort of. And then there's our.
Did you actually see what our setup looked like back in those
walking
days with all the wires? Yeah. Some guys looking
all
into
right, so
that,
here's the next
screen
thing.
that looks like a
here's
cage
the next
there's no
thing,
way
Matt.
they're broadcasting from in there.
You say, there's no way Rory went in there. Oh, yes way. There's Rory right there. There's Rory right there. And he did it not once, but twice. Andrew, go to the next one. He did it twice, Matt. He came in the next day and did it. Remember?
Yeah.
2 days in a row, I walked him back there.
To my left, where we're sitting, if you go back to that first shot, to my left, there was one of those. And he brought a pint of Guinness, and I was like, "One? You only brought one?" And they gave me one too at the same time, which was awesome. But to the left of where I was sitting, there it is. There actually was one of those trays that you plug in and it heats up. You know, if you're going to heat up soup or something, and on it was a tin of baked beans that with a spoon stuck in it that had been there for so long that the beans had turned to stone. But the room that we were in there was like open buckets of paint thinner and all kinds of chemicals.
It was terrible. Look at this picture. Andrew, put that up.
So progressively.
Look at that. See, we've been doing this for a long time, Matt. Look at all that hair. Look at my shorts. What am I doing?
So progressively, the shows that we did, it seemed like we were inhaling a lot of chemicals. Let me put it that way. So when we
Hold on a second, Matt. Hold on a second. Andrew, play that video. I had to walk Rory McIlroy into this space.
Remember, we had to step around the buckets with all the open.
It was me, a PGA of America official, and Rory. I remember it because obviously I'm young,
looked
right?
at you like,
young.
no, I can't. I'm not.
So we were walking past the porta potties with the PGA of America official, and the PGA America official at that point left. They were like, "All right, I've got to go do my next thing." So I'm standing right in that photo. I am standing to the left of those porta potties, just me and Rory in 2011, and I'm like, "Rory, right through here." And he's just like, "What? Where are you taking me? What is happening?" I'm like, no, it's a very important interview. He's just like, I don't think we're allowed in here. I'm like, no, it's all set up. It's, it's great. And he's just like, he couldn't have been more tentative. And to Rory's credit, major champion, the whole deal, he was like, all right, let's see what's in this room.
I remember the first day we were broadcasting, our first guest was actually Darren Clark. And they were playing, and a rain shower had come through, and he had shot a 77. I remember the score. And I thought to myself, Darren is going to be, he's just going to be mad, right? Reigning Open champion, Royal St. George's. And I thought, there's no way they're going to say, hey, can you do this interview afterwards? And he's going to be like, no. And I'm doing my thing, talking into that microphone, the picture that you saw, and I've got this little tiny like prison window in front of me, and I'm doing the broadcast, and I happen to glance over my right shoulder, and there's Darren Clark in the same shirt that he's wearing there, but the side of it you can't see. The whole right side of him, which is framed off this picture, was completely soaked from just the way that the rain and the wind hit him. He was totally wet. So I turned behind me, and he was standing behind me with his hands on his hips, and I was like, uh-oh. What's the mood going to be? And he sat down, they handed him that Guinness, and he was happy as can be. It was a classic event. It was 1 year we
so there's
at
your
that
proof,
event.
man.
Yeah, that is classic.
From years ago. It's like 13 years ago that it took place. I can't
1
believe I
year
had
we
video of that shed.
I know, that's classic. 1 year we had 2 Category 5 hurricanes bearing down on us in the same time, and we pretty much got evacuated from that one. It was a great event because
We also
the
had
players.
an earthquake in Washington, D.C. Remember that?
Yes, yeah, I do remember that. We were about
did a
to
show
record
through
an
an
interview.
earthquake.
Well, who was it? Christina Kim. We were about to record an interview with Christina Kim, and Dom came on and screamed in the headset, "We're having an earthquake!" And he kind of like disappeared. And somehow, Christina Kim and myself, because I was at a different studio at that time. I was still running golf courses. I was at Newport National, and I was on Greengrass side, and somehow Christina Kim and I were still connected. She was at home in Orlando, and she was like, hello. And I said, Christina. And she said, what's going on? I said, I don't know. Dom just said they're having an earthquake. And we both kind of chuckled like that because we're both like, Dom's crazy. They're based out of Washington,
hold on,
D.C.
Matt, come
XM's
back
in Washington.
there. Andrew, come back to me. What happened was, at that time, right, Washington, D.C., we had an enclosed soundproof studio. And there's a huge wall of glass behind me going into the hall. So I'm like this. I've got my board and all my stuff, and nothing's in front of me. And I'm talking to Matt, and I'm here. But there's a window in front of me into the studio, and there's a reflection on that window of what's behind me, which is an open window in the hall. And I see 2 people run in a full sprint, like they're in the Olympics, past the window. And then I see a piece of the ceiling fly, like come down through the window behind me. But I can't hear anything because it's soundproof. So I turn around, and someone is they're sprinting and screaming, but I can't hear them screaming. And I'm like, what is happening? And I turn around, I go, hold on, Matt. I turn around, I open the door to the studio, which is soundproof, so it's a big, thick door. I open it, and I hear it was a young lady, like an intern age lady. She was running full speed towards me, going, earthquake! I was like, what is happening? And this is in Washington, D.C., which is not exactly the earthquake capital of the world.
No, that's why it was so unbelievable.
Horrifying.
It ended up cracking the
crazy.
Washington Monument, if you remember. Yeah, that is what happened. All right, so that's just to give you a glimpse of how some of this takes place. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk to you about weather conditions and Lancaster coming up this week, as well as the press conference schedule, which today in earnest it's stout. I want to show you that. Air times, because it's available everywhere across the NBC Sports spectrum. PGA Tour Superstore is the presenting sponsor of the Fairways of Life show. If you need it, whether you swing it, whether you wear it, whether you learn from it. I think Dom bought a pair of golf shoes there yesterday for our trip to Ireland coming up in a few days, which is part of the reason why I started telling you about this new schedule that we have, because I'll be over there for 5 or 6 weeks, total of about 8 weeks coming up this summer, which will work around all that too. It's all good. So you can find what's all good at the PGA Tour Superstore, where you can shop with the pros. Stay with us, more coming up.
Every January, PGA Tour Superstore pros meet every manufacturer, learn about the latest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls. All so they can get you the perfect fit.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The Gen 6 iron is a culmination of everything that we have learned as a team, the absolute best golf club I've ever hit. It's something special. Say hello to the new PXG Gen 6 iron. The longest, most accurate irons we've ever made. They go higher and farther than any iron that I have hit to date, and they're so easy to hit. Super excited for the consumer to try this. They're gonna love them.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm gonna go after PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Hitting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Hitting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're gonna need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
Boyne Golf provides the ultimate world-class golf destination with 10 championship-caliber courses spanning 3 resorts. Centered in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula, the courses are the products of some of the game's masters, including Robert Trent Jones Sr., Arthur Hills, and Donald Ross. From the all-inclusive vacation packages, elite instruction with the Boyne Golf Academy, tournaments, and so much more, Boyne Golf truly offers an unrivaled Michigan golf vacation experience. Just log on to boynegolf.com. Welcome back to the Fairways of Life show. U.S. Women's Open taking place at Lancaster Country Club this week in Pennsylvania. Madelene Sagstrom will be amongst those who will be playing a winner on the LPGA, a 3-time member of the European Solheim Cup team amongst her various credits, a player that absolutely has very much been in the mix of late. 3 top 10 so far in 2024, including a runner-up, the Cognizant Founders Club, just a few weeks ago. She's currently 12th in the CME standings. She's 35th in the Rolex World Rankings and very much in the mix, too, of getting back to the Olympic Games, representing Sweden, as we're going to be having those games, of course, on the men's and women's sides relative to golf coming up from outside of Paris this summer. Pleasure to have Madelene join us on the program right now. Madelene, how are you at this point in your preparation for the U.S. Women's Open? Where do you feel like your game and your thoughts are just out in front of what will be the competition starting on Thursday morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's I've actually been on site for a little bit. I played 14 holes yesterday. I actually walked the golf course on Sunday with my mom, so I have a fair idea what's needed. It's a very unique place, very cool golf course. It's gonna be a big test, so I'm trying to pace myself a little bit. It's easy to overdo major weeks, so right now I'm just having a little chilled morning, and I'll go out and play 9 holes this afternoon.
Well, when you describe the golf course as unique and cool, those 14 holes that you've played, and we have a lot of video that can support as you're talking about it. Could you kind of describe to us the character of the golf course, the topography of it, how the greens are structured on an old structure like that in terms of how they're raised? Just kind of take us through the unique designs.
Well, first of all, the golf course is quite hilly. Like, I didn't realize how hilly it was to walk. I mean, you don't really play that much elevation. Some holes you do, but you're going to have a lot of uneven lies. The rough is extremely thick, and I think I saw them cut it Sunday. So I feel like that could be the last time they cut it for the week. You can get a
Wow.
lot of really bad lies. We had one. It's just like, well, we're just gonna chip out with a little sandwich here because some of them are gonna get really thick. And the undulations on the greens, like they have a lot of big running slopes. So it's like hitting fairways is going to be key. Ball striking this week is going to be absolute key. I mean, you're going to have to make up and downs around the greens, but it's so hard to judge how the ball's going to lie in that rough. So hitting fairways and greens are going to be key.
Last time the U.S. Open was here was in 2015, and at that time, the crowds were well in excess of 100,000 people came out to see you guys. What is the sense when you're there now in terms of kind of the buzz about the area and the excitement about the U.S. Women's Open returning?
Well, it's a really neat little town. I was here, like I got here Friday and spent some time with my mom and just hung out, kind of got the feel of Lancaster. And it's really nice. I think everyone's super excited for it to be here. The grounds are beautiful. The walk is beautiful. So we're hoping for big crowds. There hasn't been any yet so far since I'm assuming it hasn't opened to the public yet. So it's going to be lovely to see. I have a few friends coming in town. So it's going to be a nice walk for them and hopefully not see us make too much fool of ourselves.
When you look at the progression, Madelene, of your career, do you have a sense that you're on the verge of breaking through and doing truly great things? Because from an outside perspective, a fan's perspective, if you please, watching you, it seems like so many professional athletes that it tends to be a step by step. It tends to be an ascension. And it feels to us like you're right on the threshold. What does it feel like to you?
I feel like I've been on the threshold for a while. No, I think it's hard. I mean, you play against the best players in the world every single day, and everyone is so good. I think all of us would love to have a Nelly Korda streak that she's on right now. So I think it's, I mean, I've always been happy with if I can keep getting a little bit better every single day. That's been my whole goal, and I've gotten better every single year. Maybe not all combined, but overall, my game has gone better. Of course, I would love to see a few more wins already, but I know I'm on the bubble to do great things, and I've had a really good career. I'm really proud of what I've done. So I think that if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I have a lot more in the tank.
You just mentioned what Nelly was doing as a Nelly Korda streak, to use the phrase that you used. Is it at a point with what Nelly's doing where you as a fellow competitor look at her and go, oh, I can't do that, whatever aspect that you refer to, I can't do that. I can do what I do, but she does, like people used to be about, say, Tiger or different players and going, I can't do that, but I can do what I do well. Is there something about Nelly that you as a competitor look at right now and go, now she's on a different level than the rest of us in that particular area?
Yes and no. I think that, I mean, her game is so unbelievably consistent. The way she strikes the golf ball, I know she's worked really hard on her putting, and now she's putting really, really well. I think that it's kind of been for a while, everyone's been wondering if it's possible to do what Tiger did. And now I think now with Scotty and Nelly, I think this is maybe the modern generation's version of a Tiger or a Jack Nicklaus or an Arnold Palmer kind of thing. So I think it's very inspiring to see. I know she's extremely mentally strong. I mean, you've even seen some of the tournaments she's won. She's been 2 over par in her first 9 holes first day. And I think that maybe, I mean, myself included, would have maybe started fighting a little bit harder if I'm feeling a little bit like I'm not really there. My game is not really there. So I think that she's so incredibly strong. She believes so much in her game that she keeps fighting no matter what. And I think that's something that all of us try to do, but it's sometimes not that easy to do. So, but I also believe that confidence brings confidence, like results makes you confident. So, I mean, when you're on that high, you're just trying to keep that going as much as you can.
Madelene, when you're talking about, because you started mentioning some all-time great names in golf, right? But whether you're talking about, your fellow Swede in Annika, or whether you're talking about Tiger, or whether you're talking about Jack, or whether you're talking about Mr. Palmer or whoever it is, Ben Hogan back in the day, every one of those players carried with them at a certain point of accomplishment, they carried with them the air of intimidation, whether it was deliberate on their part, whether they tried to channel it or not. And even Jack Nicklaus, as gracious as he was to his competitors, that, you know, remember the old quote, you knew Jack was going to beat you, Jack knew that Jack was going to beat you, and Jack knew that you knew that Jack was going to beat you. So is there with Nelly Korda yet a kind of brewing intimidation that just carries with her because of who she is and what she's done?
I think so. I don't think she's not so, I mean, she's not verbally saying things. She's not, I mean, she's super gracious. She handles herself so nicely. So it's not something that's in your face, but when you know that when you stand up there and when she stands on the tee, she's going to do everything she can to win. So I think it's that little silent one, kind of under, like, just within her, that's super strong, that she really carries herself, and she just believes in herself and her game so much.
All right, Madelene Sagstrom is our guest. She will be teeing it up this week at the U.S. Women's Open at Lancaster Country Club. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation, including, I'll ask the question, with all those things we just discussed with Nelly Korda, how do you beat her? That and more coming up in the Fairways of Life.
Every January, PGA Tour Superstore pros meet every manufacturer, learn about the latest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls. All so they can get you the perfect fit.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The Gen 6 iron is a culmination of everything that we have learned as a team, the absolute best golf club I've ever hit. It's something special. Say hello to the new PXG Gen 6 iron. The longest, most accurate irons we've ever made. They go higher and farther than any iron that I have hit to date, and they're so easy to hit. Super excited for the consumer to try these. They're gonna love them.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm gonna go after PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Getting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Getting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're going to need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
Boyne Golf provides the ultimate world-class golf destination with 10 championship-caliber courses spanning 3 resorts. Centered in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula, the courses are the products of some of the game's masters, including Robert Trent Jones Sr., Arthur Hills, and Donald Ross. From the all-inclusive vacation packages, elite instruction with the Boyne Golf Academy, tournaments, and so much more, Boyne Golf truly offers an unrivaled Michigan golf vacation experience. Just log on to BoyneGolf.com.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Order yours and save. Visit zerofriction.com/stride or scan the QR code to order yours today. Stride, your personal caddy.
That is our guest, Madelene Sagstrom. And Madelene, it was fun before the break because we were talking about all-time greats, and isn't it interesting how they all become first name people, right? Babe, Nancy, Annika, Tiger, Jack, Arnold. Even you, when you were talking about Nelly, you said Scotty. Never said his last name. We all knew exactly who you were talking about, and they're already becoming kind of first name. So you have a great first name. How and why? Let us inside your head. Let us inside your heart. How and why can you become one of the greats?
I think that I have, if you just look game wise, I have a very good all around game. I'm a good solid athlete in what I do, and I think that that is probably one of my strengths. I think that if I can get ahead a little closer to Nelly, I think that I can do great things too. Would love to be a one name person. It would be fantastic. I think that just I need to start believing a little bit more in my game, like the rest of my team does and everyone around me. I think that sometimes I've been very hard on myself my whole life, and I get very critical of what I do, and I strive for perfection. And I think that sometimes under the gun, you don't need perfection. I'm starting to realize that now. Comes with age and experience, I guess. But I think that's probably the biggest thing that I need to learn.
Have you found, particularly now, when a person's thoughts, a person's emotions, a person's well-being, a person's mental health is something that we can all openly discuss without a stigma, more so than probably ever before, at least amongst the professional ranks of golf. Do you find that is something that's important, that you make sure that you do have that supportive team around you? Maybe it's a sports psychologist, or maybe it's a combination: caddy, coach, family, friends, team, etc. That it's important for all of us to have that, so people can go, no, you need to make sure that you continually realize your worth, that you're there for a reason, and you wouldn't be there unless you were capable.
I think so. I think that it's, I mean, I've openly shared my story and my struggles in the past. And I think that it's one of those things that when you realize, like, golf is great, golf is so much fun, it's what I love to do, but in the end of the day, I just try to be a better human being every day. I try to love myself more. I try to be happy with the choices that I make and who I try to be. And I think that's, I mean, it's a hard world we live in already. I know that it's been a lot of talk about, I mean, Grace and Murray on the PGA Tour this past weekend, and it's incredible, sad to see, and I feel for everyone. I think that this is when it becomes more than golf. This is when, in the end of the day, we all want to play like Nelly, but I also want to enjoy my time here on earth. And I think that that's kind of becomes more important sometimes, and it's important that it's talked about. It's important that we all know that we're all more than just golfers. We're human beings that are trying to play a very, very difficult sport.
Yeah, kind of share that with us too when we opened, because you mentioned a couple of times to us that you were on the golf course with your mom. And when you take a step back and realize, we're talking about a professional athlete playing in a major championship, and your first look at the golf course was stride by stride with your mother. I mean, that in and of itself is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's I've been away from home for a long time. I moved to America in 2011, and it's not hard. It's not that easy to see family. So I think that I take every opportunity that I can to spend time with the people that I love, and just having her with me, it's great. We get to experience a lot of things. Who knew that she never thought she was ever going to end up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania? So I think it's just it's just fun to have these experiences together. Like we make sure we do things along the way that we enjoy, and I think it makes myself value myself more as a human being and not just a golfer.
How much are you excited about the possibility, the prospect of the Olympic Games and representing your home country? And then I would love to segue that into what it feels like when you are representing continental Europe with the Solheim Cup.
I think that it was very interesting in Tokyo. It was one of those dreams that you didn't realize you had, since we could never dream of Olympics growing up. I dreamt about Solheim Cups, I dreamt about majors, but Olympics was something that I never dreamt about. So when I was on site, I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. But now afterwards, like I'm Olympian. Like I've done one of the biggest things that's in sport over the board. So I think it's one of those honors that you'll never take back. Like every time I represent Sweden, it's a huge honor. I feel a huge privilege to do that, including Solheim Cup. It's one of those things that I've dreamt about it. I've seen the camaraderie, I've seen the feistiness and the competition over the years, and I've been fortunate to play 3, and I'm hoping to play my way into a 4th one. But it's just one of those, like, you feel so much pride having those opportunities to represent both your country and your continent.
Do you have, when you're practicing, or maybe it's a practice round, if it may not even be in a tournament week or what have you, but do you have a go-to in your AirPods? Is there something that you listen to that kind of gives you focus or gives you release, whatever motivation you have? What's the soundtrack for practice for Madelene Sagstrom?
The ones who knows me, that I am not great with music. I am actually useless at music, and I don't listen to music very often. So I'm more of a picture person. So I do have like a little album on my phone of some of my favorite memories on the golf course and playing golf, and some of the great things that I've done. So I more tend to go back to look at pictures and videos of myself playing good golf and spending time with the people that I love.
So where is it that you go to emotionally then? Are you a person that likes to look at the horizon, at the mountains, at the sea, or is it just that you find your happy place looking at the beauty of God's gardens at a golf course?
A little bit of both. I think that I like when I'm in more of when I try to inspire myself to play good golf, I look at the good rounds that I played. My mom, like I said, she loves golf, and she's taken a lot of videos of me on TV. So I have a lot of videos of myself playing golf on TV. So I tend to go back to my win at Boca Rio a lot, see how I composed myself, how did I walk, how did I act, and stuff like that. And that's because I knew I played well there, and I performed under the gun, and I performed under a lot of pressure. So those are the things that I do to try to inspire myself to see how I handle myself.
Very cool. Your sponsors are someone that we always like to ask professionals about when you come on, because it's our way of saying thank you to you for giving us some time, so you can say thank you to all of them. You want to tell us about who you're associated with?
And I've had a great team of a lot of sponsors that have followed me from the start. Callaway, I've been working with for a long time. They've been super great to me. Great network. Barbasol has been they're probably one of my first sponsors. Some newer ones to the team: Thermos, Store Capital. I work with IB Cool. It's just nice to have people in your ball court. A lot of these are personal friends to me that grown relationships over the years, and it's just nice that you have people there to support you through the ups and the downs, because that's what golf is about.
When you hear fans, or when fans hear the name Madelene Sagstrom, what do you want them to think? What's the first thing that you want them to have come to mind when they hear your name?
Oh, that's such a hard question. I think that I want to be looked at. My hope is to be somebody that, no matter like the ups and the downs, that I've always handled myself nicely. I've been a kind, generous, good person. I think that that's probably the most important thing to me. I would love for people to know me for some of my parts of my game and how I played and results that I've had. But I think in the end of the day, if when I hear she's really nice, I enjoy that. And not to try, I mean, I don't always try to be nice just to be nice, just to hear that, but I just being a nice, considerate person that loves this game. I think that's being a good representative of women's golf is something that I would love to strive to be.
There is no doubt that there is a real authenticity there, Madelene. We believe in you. There are many that do. This could be a great, great week for you. You're continuing to knock on the door. That ascension is clear to all of us. We all do hope that you believe, because you deserve to. You've done the work. You have the game for it. So go out there and prove it to yourself, prove it to the world, and do the things that you are capable of which we say thank you for the time that you've given us today. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good to see you. All right, folks, we'll be back with more of the Fairways of Life show to wrap it up right after this.
I got ball fit in 2000. Went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
Boyne Golf provides the ultimate world-class golf destination with 10 championship-caliber courses spanning 3 resorts. Centered in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula, the courses are the products of some of the game's masters, including Robert Trent Jones Sr., Arthur Hills, and Donald Ross. From the all-inclusive vacation packages, elite instruction with the Boyne Golf Academy, tournaments, and so much more, Boyne Golf truly offers an unrivaled Michigan golf vacation experience. Just log on to BoyneGolf.com.
I think when you're training for other sports, or why most people go to the gym is so that they can have muscles and be strong and be healthy. And a lot of the reason why they struggle to play golf is their body doesn't move properly for them to be able to hit a golf ball. And when you're training for golf, it's a little bit different because you're focused more on flexibility and mobility and being strong in motion. When you're able to kind of have a warm up and have a workout routine and kind of gradually build up to where you're training your body to move properly, yeah, you're going to get a lot of big dividends on the golf course.
Every January, PGA Tour Superstore pros meet every manufacturer, learn about the latest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls. All so they can get you the perfect fit.
What if we started a company and the company was under no time constraints, no financial constraints? The one constraint is their clubs had to be exceptional performers and much better than any other alternative. I was told time and again it'll never work. It worked like a house of fire. And I'll tell you what, I think our customers love it. BXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
As we welcome you back to the Fairways of Life show, Madelene was great. It was a pleasure to have her on the program. I'm not sure, Dom, but I think that's the first time that she's been on with us. Would that be correct? Does that sound right?
Yes, that is correct. One thing we didn't talk about with her, and I'm not sure if the audience remembers, you mentioned that her runner-up at the Founders Cup. Remember, if you recall, that was a tournament that Rose Zhang won, and she was 24 under par. And she was literally like 15 shots clear of the field, except for Madelene Sagstrom, who was 22 under par. Third place was 9 under par. Madelene was like, you couldn't play any better, and Rose Zhang played better somehow. I mean, that's just insane.
And Madelene,
but yes,
it's funny because history doesn't really remember. History doesn't really remember who finished second, right? Ultimately, it's harsh, but that's reality, right? But her performance, if I remember correctly, the total body of her performance was, I think, third best. I doubt it was an all-time. I'm trying to remember the exact category because I remember looking at it going,
on the strokes gained stats, it was from Justin Ray. It was the strokes gained to this point that the LPGA started keeping track of it. So I think it was like maybe a 10-year window, something like that.
Right. So, and it was like third best ever in that under that definition, and you didn't win. Which is a credit to Rose Zhang and how well that she played. I didn't ask you earlier, Dom. Did you do a question of the day today? What was it? If you guys want to weigh in on it in the time that we have left here, log on to the Fairways of Life YouTube channel and you can do so there. Did you do one?
I did do a question of the day. We've got about 2 minutes left here. Just enough time for me to ask the question: who will win the U.S. Women's Open? Nelly Korda or anybody else? That's the question. And
That's
now,
really
Nelly
interesting.
Korda has 46% of the vote. It's picking Nelly over the field, which is a lot to me. But there she is. Look how excited she is.
But what's so cool about that? What's so cool about that, Dom, is now we're getting to, are we at a point with Nelly Korda, who's won 6 of 8, right? Are we at a point where you remember the days when it was, who would you take, Tiger or the field? And at the time, it sounds ridiculous whenever you take one player over an entire field. But with Tiger, obviously back in the day, he would deliver. And to think that 46% of the people as of this moment are saying Nelly Korda is in that class where you've got an entire field at a major championship that you could choose from other than her, or choose her, and it's almost 50-50 saying, no, Nelly Korda is the one that I want. I didn't get a chance in today's show to go through all of the air times with you. The NBC coverage of the U.S. Women's Open is stout. It's across all kinds of different platforms. And there it is. Andrew's got it up there before we say goodbye this morning. But tomorrow, I will promise you, I will go through this in even more detail. But starting Thursday at noon Eastern time, you can see that the coverage will be kicking off, and it'll be spread between Peacock, USA Network, NBC, as well as the dedicated digital coverage as well. So I'll see you tonight on Golf Central at 10 p.m. after the NCAA Men's Golf Championships. Bye for now.